So I want to know that have you always been this confident when it comes to speaking publicly and in front of so many people?
I think that I'm sure a lot of people have this big hindrance, right? That what will others think about me? So I think being is the best advice I can give to anyone. That worked for me.
Welcome to Eminence, Season 2, a compelling podcast series that brings together influential leaders and experts for in depth discussions on personality development and self improvement. Here, we bring transformative ideas and practical insights that empower you to unlock your full potential through the experiences and vision of our distinguished professionals. I am Shriya Badwa and I will be your host for today, and I'm extremely thrilled to have you join us today. As always, this series is brought to you by Evolve, the personality development cell, where we strive to educate, empower, and to inspire individuals to grow personally and professionally. Season 2 of Eminence kicks off with a truly special guest, Mr. Saakshar Duggal. Welcome to Eminence. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. Mr. Duggal is an accomplished advocate specializing in cyber law. He is also a motivational speaker, a TEDx speaker, and a mentor. In this episode, he will share his unique insights on public speaking, trends in artificial intelligence, and his journey of inspiring countless individuals. Join us for an engaging conversation that combines legal expertise, motivational wisdom, and actionable advice to help you thrive in an increasingly digital world. Sir, before we dive into this discussion, we would like to know more about you. So, could you provide with a brief introduction about yourself to our listeners?
Well, thank you so much for the warm introduction and greetings, everyone. So, in brief, as you have mentioned correctly, I'm an advocate in the Delhi High Court, and my specialization is in cyber laws. If I have to clarify what are these cyber laws, well, all this artificial intelligence, deep fakes, voice cloning, and different cyber crimes that you keep hearing out these days. So, I closely work with individuals and the government and the corporates as well. Apart from that, yes, I'm a public speaking mentor to a lot of co-founders, founders, as well as startup founders as well. And I help them to actually cultivate their personality, which I'm sure this podcast is also all about. So I help them in cultivating their personalities, how to present themselves. And more or less, I'm building a community of professionals and founders where each and every individual can come, they can learn and they can establish themselves as a distinguished leader in their respective field.
As you mentioned, that you're, bringing together people and align with, which is basically our motive, right? We are the personality development cell. So I want to know that have you always been this confident when it comes to speaking publicly and in front of so many people?
Well, I had a problem of stammering and lisping when I was, I think, 10 years back. Yeah. So I had no confidence at all. And because of these things, there was no confidence. I didn't have friends. I was bullied. But I think at one point of time, I realized that I have to be shameless, to be honest. On stage, you have to be shameless, right? If you're presenting yourselves, even if people are laughing, I think that I'm sure a lot of people have this big hindrance, right? That what will others think about me? So I think being shameless is the best advice I can give to anyone. That worked for me. It obviously took time. It took more than 7 to 8 years to actually being fluent in not just Hindi or English, but at least not having the problem of stammering. And apart from that, yes, other activities which can, like for example, in my case, I've been doing theater for a lot of time. So again, a stage activity which helped me to gain confidence. So tip number two would be pick any hobby which can just create this confidence within you, and this can be anything. For me, it was theater. For someone, it can be art. For someone, it can be playing. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Then I think slowly and gradually you'll be able to develop.
So, as you mentioned that you've not always been that confident, right? So being a lawyer and being invited for TED Talks, which is a very big thing, right? So, could you like share the story behind your first TED Talk and how did you prepare for it and the challenges that you faced, considering that you've not always been the most confident person while speaking publicly?
Well, the interesting part is that so this goes 3 years back. I was when I thought that okay, now I'm confident enough. I can speak at different. I was speaking at different colleges at that time. So someone suggested me that you should apply for TED. I was like, no, this is a far-fetched dream. I'll first apply for Josh Talks, then I'll move step by step, right? After Josh Talks, I'll go to TEDx Talks, then TED Talks. So I applied for Josh Talks and other platforms, but I never got any positive response for a year. Then suddenly, and during this time, I was actually imparting knowledge on platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram. That's where one fine day, one of the organizers, they texted me that we are holding this TEDx event and we would like you to be as a speaker. Initially, I thought it's a scam. I didn't believe that. So I didn't even see the message I think for 3 days. I didn't see the message. They messaged me again. So I replied them back. I had a word on call. And that's where I realized that, okay, this is actually true, right? But again, I think this only happened because I was, I think I was imparting knowledge because when I asked them that, why would you pick me? So the answer was very much simple that we liked your approach and obviously you are imparting knowledge, which is quite prevalent in today's times. So that was my story with respect to my first TEDx.
And like while you were prepping for that TED talk, did you face any challenges along the way and any like issues or any problems that you faced along the way?
Definitely, I did. In fact, when I was preparing for it, I don't know because it was the pressure of the TED talk. Suddenly, out of nowhere, my stammering was coming back, and that's where I realized in between that okay, this is something. It's all about practice. It's not just that if you have overcome something, it's gone. But if the pressure situation is huge, then these kind of things can come up. So I think my message is that it's very much normal for everyone. And when I interact with a lot of professional speakers, everyone is nervous, everyone faces difficulty. It's just you get used to that difficulty, you get used to that anxiety, you enjoy that. So in my TEDx as well, I was preparing it for more than 2 weeks, but yeah, on and off, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of anticipation. It was a mix of a lot of things. In fact, before going to the stage, I remember I went blank and I was pretty much nervous that okay, just 5 minutes to go and I'm blank. I don't even know what to speak. But I think if you're well prepared, then like it happens in our exams, right? We are preparing and we think that we forget, but once you're writing your paper, then if you're well prepared, then definitely answers come your way.
So, in today's time when content creation has become so popular, and considering particularly the Gen Z, it is very important to keep your content fresh and engaging. So you have delivered 16 TED Talks. So how do you manage to keep your content fresh and engaging all the time?
I think two things. Number one is, yes, thanks to my topic, which is of AI and technology, because AI it's impacting every field, right? So whenever I give a TED talk, the topic is different and I'm able to make a correlation between AI and that industry. For example, whether it's in the finance sector, medical sector, legal sector, anything. But second, which is the most important thing is, I think most of us, we concentrate upon how to make our content engaging. But I believe that's still, that's not the core. The core is how to be authentic. If you're authentic, then automatically you will engage with the audience. And you talked about Gen Z, right? I'm not just talking about Gen Z, but Gen Alpha now. Because Gen Alpha they have grown up, right? So you will be able to connect with this point as well. If someone comes to your college and speaks, you just want connectivity knowledge. That's all. If the speaker is able to connect with you, 80% of the job is done. 20%, obviously, if the speaker is just imparting basic knowledge, that also will be an eye opener for you guys. Why? Because that authenticity is there. So I personally believe that keeping things authentic and real has been my biggest strength.
So authenticity, yes, of course, it is very important, right? So while you're preparing for a speech, not just for TED Talk, any speech or any presentation, right? What is your process for preparing for that? Do you have a specific routine or certain rituals that you follow while doing that?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of points which I definitely keep in mind. One is, I heard this line from Jeff Bezos. Therefore, you have to understand that at every step you have to see that will my audience accept this, like this or not. Whether it's any information, whether it's any joke, whether it's any statistic as well. You have to first see that, number one. Number two, obviously, yes, keeping things which are trending. No one wants to hear information which is redundant as well as which is mundane. If I'm telling someone, if let's say I'm giving a session, I don't want anyone to say that, okay, I can find all of this on YouTube easily. Obviously, internet is full of knowledge, but it all depends what kind of knowledge you are imparting and how authentic you are. And number three is concentrating about call to actions. Because even if after you heard a brilliant session, but you don't have a personal call to action, I think that's an incomplete story. So therefore, having a practical call to action for my audience is also very important.
Right. So, according to you, because you have so much of experience in this area, so is there any particular mistake that you made during your time while you were learning, or in general people make while preparing for public speaking, and how did you manage to fix it?
I think three simple points, which I also, I committed all these mistakes. Number one is, yes, being self-obsessed, that, okay, I want to speak like this. I will be imparting these points. It's not necessary. Someone is thinking about their homework, someone is thinking about something else, but they're not even listening to you. And they don't even have time to judge you like that. So not everyone is judging you. And in fact, as an audience, everyone wants a good speaker, right? They are here to cheer you up. If you do good, you are doing justice to their time as well. And number three is thinking that I can't learn public speaking. That's another huge myth that a lot of people have. That even if they know that, okay, this is important, somewhere they have this misconception that I can't learn this because let's say I'm old, or I'm not competent enough. I think these are misconceptions which are in everyone's mind, but I think it's all about practice, irrespective of your gender, age, background, or anything. If you're practicing the skill, you'll be able to hone it.
So, as you said, that most people have a misconception about it. I think more than a misconception, it is like they feel that they don't really have that ability to, just go out there and they feel that they'll go blank. As you said, that there was a time when you also went blank when you were delivering that speech. So, how to get rid of that, fear that most people have? Because growing up, there are so many people that have that stage fear, right? They can't go in front of so many people and, say all those things. So, what advice do you have for those people who have stage fear from childhood?
Well, I think two things. Number one is, yes, if you have interest, then great. Number two, if you don't have interest, right? I think having a necessity, developing a necessity is very important. Knowing that, okay, I need public speaking because I'm in a corporate job or XYZ is not enough. If you're creating evidences every single day at every single point of contact that, okay, public speaking is required, this is a necessity. So even if you don't like it, even if you're scared of it, you will give yourself the chance, because a lot of people, they try to develop the interest, which is, I personally feel that's the wrong approach, because it's not necessary that everyone will be interested in public speaking, right? There were different subjects in our school, and most people were they hated maths. So if I would have told someone to like maths, that would have been the wrong approach. But okay, if you know that, okay, maths is there in my board exams, I can't run away. It's a necessity. I have to study. So if you that can make a huge difference, right? That approach. So I think creating more evidences that, okay, this is a necessity. That's where I think a change can come.
So, are you like someone who likes to read a lot?
Yes, now I was not like this, but once I got exposed to this field, I realized that reading, in fact, again, you have to be clear with your why. I remember all of my cousins, they have been avid readers. And my mom used to just tell me that please read. But the reason she told me was that you can improve your English with this. Now, I was like that, okay, I am generally watching English movies, so I don't need books to improve my English. So my why was not strong. But in COVID-19, during that time also, when delivering different lectures, I realized that I need knowledge, authentic knowledge. And that's where I got exposed to books. But my why was clear this time. My why was not to improve English, but my why was that I want to learn different things, so that even if I can take 1% of that and I can include that in my speech, then that would actually elevate my speech.
So we were talking about books. So as you mentioned that you have developed this habit now of reading. So was there, would you like to suggest a particular book that deeply influenced you, or a character from a book or a movie?
This is a very difficult question for me because number one is that this might sound a bit weird, but I only read self-help books. That only suits me. So because I personally feel that there's something at least tangible which I can take and I can apply in my life easily. So that's one. But yeah, if I have to just name one book, then I started with the books of Tony Robbins. because that's it was. And again, it's not about motivation, but his books actually give you an insight about neuroscience and how you can actually get not motivated, but how you can actually develop discipline and you can bring your life in action. So that definitely worked for me.
Right. So, how did it help you overall, professionally, reading
Well,
that book?
professionally, yes, number one, I understood my brain better.
Hmm.
After reading his books, I got more interested into neuroscience. So I was watching different videos on YouTube that, okay, what is motivation, discipline? Why am I not working or why am I working? If you know the mechanism, then it gets very much easy to decode, right? Like in
Hmm.
today's times also, if someday I'm not getting motivated, for example,
Hmm.
today it's quite cold in Delhi, right? And you are not motivated to go out or exercise. But if you know why your brain is acting like this, why it's giving you such inputs, then it gets easy to understand things and you're able to act on that.
So, I just want to know that if there was any piece of advice that you could offer to the aspiring speakers, what would it be?
Be customer obsessed or customer slash audience obsessed. And number two is be trendy as well. When I say trendy, it doesn't mean that you're just picking up trendy topics. But
Yeah.
whenever you're delivering something, that information should be prevalent at the current space, because a lot of individuals, they just speak of some knowledge. See, there are a couple of universal truths, that's fine, but most of your speech should be about something relevant. For example, if today I am talking to anyone, I should have irrespective of my niche, but I should have things like AI or what is happening in their industry, right? Because at the end of the day, for information, YouTube is there, Spotify is there, there are n number of things. But if someone wants real time information, what is actually happening in the industry, then they deserve that information, right? Real time. So you have to be real time in that manner. Your content should be developed, it should be upgraded time to time. And if you are audience obsessed and you have this point that, okay, my content should be unique and developed every single time, then I think there is always a scope of improvement in that.
So you said that content should be real time, but apart from the content, what is most important is the body language when you're speaking. So, any tips that you could offer to people who are speaking publicly to, improve their body language?
Try to keep your body language open. When I say open, then a lot of people say that what is the degree of openness, right? We don't want to overdo it, right? But I
Yeah.
always say overdoing is much better than underplaying in terms of public speaking. Because if you are not see, no one is a born body language expert, right? Some people, okay, they have their interest, or let's say, like in my case, I'm into theater, so for me body language comes naturally because we are trained like that. But if someone who's not trained, if you try that, okay, in your mind you try that, now I have to give 100% because of obviously lack of training, lack of habit. Out of 100%, you will go max to max till what, 70%. But that 70% is fine. Going 100% is over doing that, but if you're going to 70%, that's extremely fine. So keeping that, being conscious of that fact that, okay, I have to open up, because underplaying will never work. But if you're
Hmm.
doing it overly, that might work when we compare both of them.
Has it worked for you?
It definitely has. A lot of people have said that number one, obviously, it gives you energy. As a person, you feel more energetic. And number two is the audience is also engaged, right? For example, if audience is, see, whenever you're coming on stage, unless and until you're a celebrity, audience is not expecting much from you. So half of the people are asleep, right? Most of them are not even thinking about you. A lot of people are just sitting because maybe they are getting attendance, or they have been forced. If you're going in a corporate or an event, they're just forced to sit down, right? So no one
Yeah.
is interested. But if you have energetic body language, right, if you're commanding the stage, and if you're being authentic, I feel if you're authentic, then also it's quite easy to open up. You don't have to think about your hands if you are sharing your personal experiences or something which you actually believe in. Once you do that, slowly and gradually, you see that audience also starts getting attracted to you.
Right. So, according to you, what is more important? Like, having proper, like, a very, very good content or having a very good body language? Like, Obviously both of them are equally important when it comes to public speaking publicly, but what is the most important according to you?
I again personally believe that you can't separate both of these because if let's say I have excellent content, but I don't know how to communicate, nothing would work. And in the same case, if I have a good body language, yes, initially I might impress people, but after 2 to 3 minutes, people, audience is smart. They are not fools. They'll understand that okay, this person is just making it up. That's why
Hmm.
both the things are required because a lot of people they think that, and I also made the same mistake. Initially, I thought that if I have good body language and voice command on my voice, I'll be able to speak on stage. But speaking and delivering value are two different things altogether.
Right. So, considering that you are into cyber law, so do you think that AI or any other virtual tools they can ever, replace the magic of speaking live?
Well, I think somewhere or the other they have the potential to replace human beings, that's for sure. But not
Okay.
right now. In let's say in the coming future, 15, 20, 30 years. But that's also, there's this disclaimer. If human beings don't evolve, then only AI will replace you. But in today's times, I always say that a person who knows how to leverage AI will definitely replace you. For example, even if in terms of speaking, right? There
Hmm.
are two speakers. One is even if Mr. A has excellent content, excellent body language, but Mr. B has a decent amount of knowledge and decent amount of body language, but Mr. B knows how to use AI. So that Mr. B can actually make his or her presentation quite interactive as well. And
Right.
let's face it, a speech is just like a movie. Every the other moment, your audience wants something new. They want their
Hmm.
dopamine to strike, right? Something or the other should be there, which is happening, whether it's in terms of body language, it's voice, it's content, it's a joke. And with the coming of AI, you can actually enhance your presentation. So I think you can use AI as a leveraging tool, but again, you should not depend upon it. And at the same time, you can't be of this notion that I don't need technology for speaking.
Hmm. So you do believe that AI will replace humans in the coming years?
If we, again, disclaimer, if we are not able to adapt ourselves, if we are if we have this notion that okay, we don't need technology, then sooner or later AI will come and replace you. When I say you, it's not everyone, it's the person who is not adapting himself or herself. But a person who is adapting, that person will obviously sail through.
Right. So, as you are into cyber law, right? It is not something that, like, whenever we hear the word law, cyber law is not something the first thing that comes into our mind, right? So, can you elaborate more on the criticality of cyber security?
But to be if I have to speak in a let's okay, I'll just give you some basic points. Why is it important? We all are internet users, right? We all are, most of us are on social media, or even if you're not on social media, if you search yourself on the internet, you'll get something out there or the other, whether one link, two link, or 10 links. Now, see, this is an ecosystem and there are cyber criminals as well. For example, there are a lot of things which impact you. If someone says why cyber law, then I say it impacts you directly. For example, in earlier times, there was cyberbullying, which used to take place making fake accounts or trolling someone on the internet. Now it has taken another turn in terms of deep fakes, voice cloning. UPIs are there, and in terms of UPI, there are a lot of UPI frauds which are taking place. Recently, we had this digital arrest scam where criminals used to call you on video call and they used to pose themselves as police officers and they used to create this situation where you would transfer the money, right? So if you are using internet, if you are using smartphones, which is today's reality, you can't escape that. If you're a student, if you are a professional or anyone, everyone is on the internet. You're using one form or the other of social media, whether it's WhatsApp, Instagram, Meta, or anything. So if you're in the ocean, then in the ocean sharks are also there, blue whale is also there. If you're in the
Right.
ocean, you can't say that why the water is important, right? So that's where cyber laws comes in place. What are the criticalities? What are the do's and don'ts that we should know in order to safeguard ourselves in this cyber ecosystem?
So, what like influenced you to go into this field? Have you always been clear that you want to go into this field, or was it a personal experience of yours that shaped your ideas of going into this field?
I think I've never been clear. I'm still not clear. And that is that I believe that's my strength. Why? Because if you are clear, then I personally believe you don't explore. Then you are, we think that, okay, being focused is good. I also believe that being focused is great. But if you are wondering sometimes, and if you're curious, not just mindlessly wondering, but if you're curious about different things, then I think that works. In my case, I was curious about things. I was curious about technology, but unfortunately, I thought that because I hated maths, so I thought I need maths or science background to understand technology. But I was wrong, because in COVID, I understood that, okay, technology is there, we are dependent upon it. And what I know, I just know law. So how can I combine? Is there any space where I can combine law and technology? So that's where I found cyber laws. In fact, today as well, AI is there, new things are coming up. So I don't know what is happening, but yeah, I'm curious to know how this X technology is impacting my business, and how can I create opportunities in this space.
Hmm. So, cyberspace, it's getting riskier day by day, right? And we see news bulletins of multiple frauds that are happening, as you also mentioned about UPI frauds and all of those things. So, how can we stay safe?
Couple of things. Number one is understanding the value of your data. A lot of times, in fact, not just a lot of times, as human beings, we are data careless. We tend to distribute our data thinking that we are not the Ambanis or we are not the Elon Musk of the world, right? So who cares, right? It's just data of a normal person. But you don't understand that whatever data you're sharing gets circulated in n number of channels. Sometimes cyber criminals also get that data. And once, after a couple of months, you are defrauded, the first dialogue that comes out of your mouth is that I didn't give my number to Mr. X. How he knows my number, my Aadhaar number? Because again, it's an ecosystem, right? You have shared your data in one channel. You don't know what is happening to your data, whether someone is selling that data behind your back, or any data breach has caused leak of that data. So number one is, don't share your personal data mindlessly. Know the value of your data. Number two is, again, being at least generally aware of the trends that are happening. For example, if someone who has no clue about what is a deep fake, then 110% he will be a victim of deep fake, right? If you just know what is happening in your surroundings. And gone are those days when we used to say that I'm not from the tech background, why should I care? I always say that if you have a smartphone, if you're using the internet, then you should care. You are part of the ecosystem. You should at least take 20 minutes in a week just going through. If you just write cyber crimes on Google, and if you go on Google News, within 15-20 minutes you'll get a glimpse of what is happening around you, what kind of scams are happening around you. Even if you're generally aware of these scams, chances are high that if unfortunately or fortunately you are in that moment where you are about to get defrauded, you'll realize you are aware, right, that okay, this is a fraud, let's be careful. And number three is, again, being open to the fact that technology will impact you. Because I mean, a lot of people, they are, somewhere or the other, they are not ready to accept that AI is here to stay, number one. And number two, it's impacting your field. We keep on hearing this news that okay, a lot of people have been, jobs have been getting taken over by AI and this and that, but we still are in a denial mode.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that yes, AI is here to stay. It will impact your job both positively and negatively. But if you are smart enough, if you are flexible enough, you'll understand the ways through which you can leverage it. It's not the end of the world, but definitely if you don't know how to leverage AI, then it can make your life hell for sure.
Absolutely. So, from a legal standpoint, let's assume someone has been a victim of one such online fraud. So, what are the steps that should be taken by the person to, ensure the right path to justice?
Well, a couple of points which have to be kept in mind is, number one, there is this phone number called 1930, which is of government's. This is the number which the government has provided for all cybercrime complaints. That's one. Second is another government portal only where you can actually file an online complaint. So the portal is called as cybercrime.gov.in. You can go there, and it's not complicated at all. It's a self-explanatory portal where you can go and file a complaint. Number three is ASAP just a lot of times we make this mistake of going to the police. Yes, that's fine, but the police will not be able to help you that much, right? You have to okay, this is a biased, you can say it's a biased opinion or what, but yeah, you have to consult a lawyer ASAP. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have to understand that you are not here to catch the criminal. You can't catch the criminal. If someone is sitting outside India, how will you catch the criminal, right? Your aim is to get your money back. So if
Yeah.
your aim is to get your money back, you have to contact a credible lawyer who can actually talk to the bank, or the person can guide you. Because see, with every situation, there are different things, right? Sometimes it's all your fault. Sometimes you are a little negligent, or sometimes you're not at fault at all, right? And
Hmm.
crimes takes place. So with every situation, there are different permutation combinations. But yeah, these three steps have to be there. Yes, you can go to the police, but don't think that that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate solution. That is just one of the solutions that you can take.
So how many times does it happen that if a person goes to the police directly and the case gets sorted out for that person?
I think 0.1%, and that only happens because if you're quick enough to report these. See, these three factors have to be aligned.
Hmm.
If you're quick to report, if the cyber criminal is stupid that he has left different trails to be tracked upon, and number three is police proactive for that case. Because see, you can't blame the police. It's very easy to blame the police, but you have to understand that they're the bandwidth is a problem there, right? If there are
Hmm.
10 police officials in a police station, there are different cases coming up. It's not just cybercrime cases every day. So
Right.
the bandwidth issue is there, number one. Number two, cybercrime cases compared to other cases are quite technical in nature. So, as human beings also, we would first go towards easy things rather than solving technical things. So
Hmm.
for police also, right, they are not very much trained. Not everyone is trained. I'm not saying police is not trained. They are, but in majority, they are not equipped with proper training, because every 2 months, different kinds of cyber crimes are coming up. They are changing their trends. Once a trend is common or different people know about it, they change it. Because somewhere
Right.
or the other, you have to realize this one thing, that because a lot of people ask this question, that why are cyber criminals 2 steps ahead of us? The answer to this is very simple. We have 24 hours, but we are divided, right? Doing our homework, our personal lives are there, this and that. For cyber criminals, 24/7, they are just concentrating on one problem, which is how to find loopholes in the cyber ecosystem. So if someone is spending 24 hours, and if you keep the compound effect in mind, then obviously they will be 2 steps, not even 2 steps, they will be 10 steps ahead of you.
Right, right. So could you elaborate and tell us about a personal, case that came for you in terms of cybersecurity and cyber law, and how did you manage to tackle it?
Well, I'll tell you a recent case. So we are still working upon it, because why this recent case is important, because it highlights what exactly is happening in today's times. So a father, it's a Delhi NCR case, and a father who drops his daughter at the bus stop in the morning. The daughter is in fourth standard, and okay, just like normal routine, he just dropped her daughter and he went for work. And during his work, he got different calls, and once he didn't pick up random numbers. And let me tell you, the father works in the IT sector, so he's very well equipped with all the knowledge and everything. Once he gets 4 to 5 missed calls from the same number, he picks it up. And on the other hand, he realizes that there are kidnappers. They say that we have kidnapped your daughter. And obviously, being a father, the first reaction is that I want to talk to my daughter. So for 4 to 5 minutes, he's talking to his daughter. He's convinced that yes, my daughter has been kidnapped. He sends the money. He gets a random location. And once he's going to the random location to pick his daughter, he called the school principal to let her know that these kind of things are happening, so that she can inform others, because he was suspecting that she might have been kidnapped from the school or from the bus stop. But to his surprise, he found out that his daughter has been in school throughout the day. And he was arguing with the school principal because he was not able to believe that. But
Hmm.
once he was actually made, he was given the phone and made talk to his real daughter. That's where he realized that he has been defrauded, and all this happened because of voice cloning. So in today's
Oh,
times, if you just
yeah.
there are free tools on the internet, and if not just free, There are paid subscription models for just 1500 rupees per month, where if you can just get some samples of a person, you can recreate their voice completely. And a glimpse of this, we can actually see it on Instagram, right? We can see different politicians are singing, different singers are singing each other's songs, and it seems so real. At that place, yes, we think that, okay, this is fun, right? This is a meme material. But we don't realize that these kind of things are happening in real time to create crimes.
Right. Right. So, one last question from my side is that a dream stage or a platform that you haven't spoken on yet and you wish to in the future?
Well, the TED main conference. I've been to different TEDx talks, but the TED main conference, which happens once in a year, and all the stalwarts such as Bill Gates and everyone, they come and they speak. So definitely, I have this aim to be there.
That's great. So thank you so much. That wraps up another enriching episode of Eminence. A huge thanks to our guest, Mr. Saakshar Duggal, for sharing their incredible insights and experiences with us today on cyber law and on how to build confidence while you're speaking publicly. Thank you so much for that. I hope it was extremely beneficial for our listeners and for people who really want to pursue this in the future. If you found this episode valuable, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on these inspiring conversations. You can also follow us on other social media handles for updates and more such content. The link has been attached in the description. We would love to hear your thoughts. Drop us a message in the comment section and let us know what resonated with you or what you would like to hear from us in the future. Until next time, stay curious, stay motivated, and remember that growth is a journey and not a destination. This is Shriya Vadva signing off from Eminence. See you in the next one.